Happy Thanksgiving. Today is the 28th of November, 2024. I hope everybody is going to have a fantastic day, and I wish everybody the best. This is going to be your Newhall real estate update. I'll give you the complete overview for Santa Clarita Valley, just to give you an idea where we are today. And of course, I do these shows every single day of the week. It doesn't depend, rain or shine. I'm here, and today's the Newhall real estate update, so that's going to be the focus. So right now, price reductions in all of Santa Clarita Valley. We have been seeing 57% of the properties have been selling below their listing price. For example, a property on Bella Court, initially listed at $950, sold for $920. So we're watching as these price reductions continue. Now, these aren't actually reductions in overall prices in the Santa Clarita Valley or even Newhall. These are sellers being a bit overzealous in their pricing strategy. Maybe they're getting bad advice from the online systems like Zillow and those other sorts of things that are actually gauging a lot of their data and trying to influence a buyer or seller trying to do something. So if you are a seller, they might show your property actually worth more than it really is. And that, of course, is going to get you to what? Want to list it. And then for buyers out there, it might show properties are a better deal than they really are. And that could give you a reason to maybe want to buy a property or move into that particular realm when you normally would not. So looking at that sold data is incredibly important, and I'll give you that Newhall breakdown right now. So 43% of properties maintained or exceeded their original listing prices. We do have a luxury segment in Newhall over $1 million. 15% of those properties sold in that range. There was one on Oak Orchard at $1,724,999, and that one actually went out 98 days after it had been on the market. Now, we do see 30% of homes sell within the 10-day time frame or less. This does indicate a very strong buyer demand for the well-priced homes. We had a home on Wayman sell in 0 days, so this property actually went on the market and it finished very, very quickly. And of course, that got it into escrow. It was a cash transaction, so that continued and then finally closed. Properties lingering on the market for over 60 days were about 25% of all sales. That is very indicative of this time of the year as we start to get into the holiday season. Things do tend to slow down. But as I always tell my buyers and sellers that are now are very, very serious. Buyers that are looking to buy now again, also very, very serious. Most loans are going to be the conventional. That was the most common financing type used in 62% of the properties that were sold in Newhall over the past 180 days. We had one on Green Mountain Drive was purchased with that method at $785,000. Now, for a conventional loan, typically that's 20% down. That's the old style. There are different levels of conventional, though. You can get some at 3%, some at 5%, and so on. Some USDA loans, those types of loans, depending on if the property configures for that, is actually 0 down, kind of like VA. Looking at FHA and VA, we have 28% of sales reflecting those types of loans. If you are going to be using a VA or FHA loan to purchase a condominium or townhome, and sometimes single-family residences are subject to this standard, they need to look at the wherewithal of the property, and there are other things that have to make that the property has to meet certain levels as far as ownership and those sorts of things. Also, the HOA and their books, everything has to be in order. But in order for that property to be certified, usually you go in, it's already certified. To try to get a certification within the purchase process isn't easy, but there are some lenders out there that do talk about spot approvals, and that seems to help buyers if they are looking at a particular place that might have been FHA approved, isn't anymore, and they want to see if they can get it FHA approved again so they can write that particular loan on it, because FHA is a very, very much, not so much in level, but 3.5% down. It's really hard to beat that. And the end isn't jacked up for any reason. It's actually a very good, a very solid loan, and the interest rate is very much where the market tends to be. Single family residences, those sales made up 72% of the sold properties in the past 180 days in Newhall, California. One of the things I like to talk about with my buyers, the sold data is really where it is. Also, sellers need to hear this too. When you're looking at sold properties, these are properties that have actually completed the entire process from beginning to end. So there's going to be certain indicators as to how the market's trending There'll also be indicators in sold properties as to what buyers are expecting and what sellers are willing to do. For example, if most sellers are willing to pay particular concessions whenever they are selling their properties, you'll know that by looking at the sold data, so those buyers can make better offers based on what other buyers are trending to do and what other sellers are usually doing for those particular buyers. Also, on the seller side, when you're sitting down with your agent, have them cover this sold data. If you see listings that are comparative to yours and you're excited because those prices are high, yet they're about to fall off the appraisal standard, which is about 6 months. So if they're coming up on month 5, that old, having closed that long ago, and you're about to put your property into the market, it could be, if that's a really good high comp, it's not going to be able to be looked at, because by the time your property gets into escrow, if you happen to be in escrow with a buyer that's going to need an appraisal, like a buyer that's going to need a loan to get your property, that could come back and that property could be not on that list anymore. And if that's the case, then it might not be included. Now, an appraiser can include properties that have sold more than 6 months ago, but if you're in there with 5 or 6 others that have sold even more recently but have a lower price point, the appraiser is going to do their adjustments, and that's going to equate to your property probably not being able to sell as high as that one that just fell off that particular list because it was already old at that time. And then once you get your property onto the market, a buyer makes the offer, and again, you get through that escrow process, it won't be seen or used by the appraiser. They're going to use other properties. These are incredibly important to have with your agent to make sure you're not overpricing, and in addition, you're priced where that market is, because we see properties that are priced correctly do go rather quickly. And don't get overzealous in your pricing. Just look at those standards. The syndication sites, again, they're built around showing you results with a particular reason, and those reasons happen to be they want you to reach out to them so they can sell your information to those agents paying for you in the form of leads. Don't be too much in a hurry to get into that whole dynamic, because you will then, your phone won't quit ringing and your email won't quit filling up with inquiries. Condos, townhomes in Newhall, those represented 28% of sales, often appealing to first-time buyers, and also those downsizing. Condo on Avenue of the Oaks sold for $345. Again, great areas here in Newhall, California. And Newhall was the original city here in Santa Clarita Valley. And if you do a little research, you'll find Newhall was a surveyor and made an investment into a lot of land that hadn't been developed. And I guess if you read a little bit more into the history, his wife wasn't very happy with them spending the life savings on the land, but it did pay off generationally very, very well. The average price per square foot across all properties was $457. Condos averaged about $480 a square foot, slightly higher, and that's because of the smaller square footage. Single family homes averaged about $440 a square foot. That should be indicated on any site you're looking on. I know on my system, SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com, I do often refer to price per square foot, and it's going to depend on the property and how it's outfitted. What types of improvements or upgrades does the property have? When you're comparing two properties and you see one that has a considerably higher price per square foot, look in and see why that would be. It could be that they have marble and they have Honduran mahogany and they have all of these other upgrades that the other property doesn't have, thereby causing it to actually be more expensive in the price per square foot realm. But if you don't see anything different, then maybe look at other factors. Maybe it's got a view. Maybe it has a pool and the other one doesn't. Maybe it had some builder addition that was chosen by that particular buyer or the original buyer that the other property doesn't have. And that could be in the form of another interior bedroom or something else, or maybe a full downstairs bathroom. Things like that are going to add to that price per square foot. But if you don't see anything, it could be the case that the seller's wanting more for their property than the current market will bear. But that also is very dependent on the buyer drive out there, because if there is a buyer that's been looking at a particular neighborhood in Newhall or anywhere else in the Santa Clarita Valley or Southern California for that matter, and they do see a property come onto the market that they've been waiting for that might be in a particular area where the school is fantastic and very important to this buyer, they're going to jump on that property, even at a premium, because they know that they're going to get their money out of it, maybe not in the purchase side of it, but in not having to pay for private schools for their kids because of the highest value in that particular area. Lots to consider. I did write a real estate book, How to Buy and Sell Real Estate. It's been updated for 2025. It's the Santa Clarita edition. You can go there by going to santaclaritaopenhouses.com/book, and you'll be able to get it on Amazon. It is worth it, and you will see why when you buy it. I hope you're well. I'm Connor with Honor. We'll talk to you in the next one. Tomorrow we're going to be back with, let's see, we have Newhall. So tomorrow is going to be Canyon Country. Be well. We'll see you then. Take care.